Hey everybody, welcome back. This is Paranormal WatchTower episode 14. Myself and Ray are here as your your host as always. Now, going into this episode, neither one of us know this what the other one is going to be talking about, and I think that's been really fun for me. Ray, how's it been for you? How you been enjoying these?
I've been enjoying it. I think it makes it more interesting.
Well, I'll give you a hint, and I know you have no idea what I have up my sleeve, but as you know, I was in your TikTok live this morning,
I saw you.
and out and people were throwing out some random comments and whatnot, which inspired me to just do randomness for this whole podcast. And
For
I,
the whole thing.
yeah, oh yeah, yep, absolutely. I think it's gonna be great. Well, I shouldn't say randomness. There's just random topics that popped into my head as I was preparing for the podcast and started taking notes on them. A couple of things I came across that are really interesting, and I hope y'all stick around to check them out. Plus, whatever Ray's got up his sleeve, I have no idea. So, um, I know we've talked about a couple videos that I've been sending you lately that were interesting topics. Um, well, first of all, how was your day today?
It wasn't bad. I didn't do a whole lot. Uh,
No?
no, I did a little bit of work and then I really just kind of hung out the rest of the afternoon. Oh, took my son to get his driver's license. I forgot about that.
Oh, that's pretty big news. Pretty big
Yeah,
news. How old is he?
17, about to be 18.
Oh, late bloomer, just like one of mine.
Uh-huh. And I let him drive me home too. So I
Oh,
survived. I'm here.
you made it. You
I
made it.
made
Did
it.
you make it with it? Well, you probably don't lose your cool hardly ever.
I was getting anxious. I was getting
Yeah.
anxious.
Or did you hit the fake emergency brake on the floor a
No,
couple times?
actually, I didn't need to, but luckily we live in such a small town that I think we hit like two stop signs on the way home. Like
Nice.
it was
They'll
a
never
pretty nice
notice.
cruise. He did take me to the store, so he did his first angle parking today.
Ah,
He did all right. We didn't hit
well,
nobody,
good,
so
good for him. I think let's see, started my day and I went out to the garage and started unpiling crap off of the motorcycle. Oh, for Harley Road King. But I pulled it out. That poor bike was just covered in dust and just from sitting all winter long in the back of the garage.
I'm
Did a
surprised you
quick.
don't have it out yet.
I know. I did a quick dusting and I knew when I parked it last year that the battery was garbage, so I didn't even try to start it, and I just ran to Walmart and bought a new battery, $110.
Good Lord.
Yeah, for a bike battery. I was like, damn, I don't remember them being that expensive. But anyhow,
Man,
put her in. Made it. You might have saw my video today. I don't know. I fired it up for the first time, and she fired up real quick, so I was pretty happy. But just
did,
that, and
did you get to take it out?
I did not. It's been raining here all day,
Oh, that sucks.
so yeah. Hopefully tomorrow. Hopefully tomorrow. I'm not one for riding in the rain. You call me a fair weather rider if you want. Some people call it that, but yeah, it is what it is. So,
I don't ever see too many people riding around in the rain around here.
yeah, I think they should try to avoid it when at all costs. If you've ever ridden in the rain, well, see, around here we don't. Not too many people wear helmets because we don't have the helmet law. So if you ride in the rain, it's like BBs hitting you in the face constantly with the raindrops.
I think Nebraska just got rid of their helmet law this
Oh.
past few
Hmm.
months.
So have you ever heard of this old radio talk show called Coast to Coast?
Oh yeah, with was that George Norrie?
Well, they had and those of you who don't know, it's been going forever, like as long as I can remember. But they interview random people and they take calls. And they got this one guy, and I came across this story and it came across all the details of this call. Um, Do you want to hear about it? It's pretty cool. You may or may not have heard about this story already, but if you don't mind, I'll just jump right into it.
Yeah, let's hear it.
All right. The guy calls into the show and he says, I don't tell a lot of people this story because I'm not sure I even believe it or what to think about it. So he says, this is what happened to me. I collect motorcycles. I have a ton of them. The guy goes on to say he told his daughter, because he's getting older, he said, you can sell everything, all the bikes, everything. Just keep these two bikes in the family. One was like a 1970 Honda or something like that. And so like I don't know if he didn't say how much time passed, but then he took this Honda and drove into town and he went to a coffee shop. And in this coffee shop, he's just sitting there having his coffee. All of a sudden, this strange older, he calls it a kid, but I get the feeling he was older. So I'm picturing like a 30 something kid. We'll just call him kid because that's how he refers to him. But he says this kid comes in and he says, hey, who has that Honda out there? And the guy says, oh, it's mine. And he says, oh, no way. I have one just like it. And they sit down. And that strikes up conversation. They start talking. The stranger asks the kid, he asks the guy, he says, so what other bikes do you have? And he tells him about this other one that he just loves. And the kid goes, oh, that is so weird because I have that bike as well. The same two bikes. And he says, yeah, it was passed down from my grandfather. And the guy's like, oh, that's weird. But it goes on. As soon as he said that, he says, the stranger looked at him and he started to cry. And he said, I'm sorry to ask you this, but can I give you a hug? The guy's like, yep, sure. And when the kid leans in and gives him a hug, he whispers in his ear and he says, don't go to Alaska in October. He says, in October, don't go to Alaska. And how this kid knew that this guy travels to Alaska 6 times a year, he'll never know because he never met the guy before. But he says, well, that's it. That's all I needed to say. Um, it was really nice to meet you. And then he says, I don't know. And the guy goes on to say, the guy left. And as soon as he got up from the table, he says, I don't know if it was the sun coming in or what, but I saw a flash of light and then I couldn't find the guy anymore. So the guy goes on to say that he thinks it was his grandson time traveling.
I was going to ask this a time traveler story.
Yeah, because because it was the 2 bikes that he told his daughter to save for, keeping them in the family. And then this kid comes in and says he's got these 2 bikes and they're passed down from his grandfather. Flash of light, can't find them, gone. What do you think? Think it's real or bullshit?
I mean, that one's tough to believe. Like, because if he went back into time and saved his grandpa's life or whatever, he probably just changed his whole future in his universe.
Well,
So
yeah, maybe he knew that his grandfather was going to be in trouble, get in a car accident or something horrible was going to happen on his way to Alaska.
I know, but if he saved his life, then that means he's not dead anymore on that guy's timeline, and that screws up all of the future for him.
Yeah,
Didn't he watch Back to the Future?
of course I did.
Not you, that the guy telling the story.
Oh, yeah. Who
It's not
knows?
something you want to do.
It was an interesting story that I came across that I just wanted to share.
I liked listening to Coast AM when I was younger.
Yeah.
There's some crazy. You remember the dude that was claiming he was part of the government from like Area 51? He's like hiding in a closet, hysterical.
No, I don't.
Oh, that's a famous one. It turned out to be a hoax, which obviously, but it
Oh,
was still a great conversation that night.
bummer.
Like he was hiding from the government agents, he said, hiding in a closet. He called Coast to Coast AM. I'll send it to you sometime. It's real famous.
Okay. All right. Well, what do you have up your sleeve for tonight?
I got a long one, so I'm just letting you get your stories out of the way.
You got a long one?
A
Just
long
one?
one. Well, I mean, I got something else too, but I got a long one and a short one. You want to try the short one out?
Um, sure, we can talk about the short one and then we'll talk then I'll bring up the whole story about Mel's hole.
Mel's Hole.
Yeah.
All right. You ready for this?
Yeah, go ahead. Go for it.
Let's talk about the difference between residual and
Mm-hmm.
intelligent.
Okay.
Like, I seem to think there's certain people out there that a haunting's a haunting. There's not really a separation, you know what I mean? Whereas when I'm investigating or thinking about stuff in the paranormal, I always separate it out as it's an intelligent thing or it's just residual somehow energy
Mm-hmm.
trapped inside of a space.
Right. Yeah, to me it's always one or the other. Always. It's not just, you can't really combine them because in my opinion, residual energy is simply that. It's energy. It's residual. It's called residual energy for a reason. It means it's a playback, like a repeat of something happened in the past.
Right.
So some people say that it's just a natural repeat of the past. Other people say that it's energy that's soaked into the walls of that interior area and is released slowly over time and time again. But for me, that's a little harder to believe because if it is, let's just say that's true, and the energy is soaked into the walls. Okay. Well, the walls only soak up so much of the energy from the one time it happened. It's not going to, I don't think it would constantly release the enough energy to recreate that situation time and time and time and time and time again. You know what I mean? Like it might
Yeah.
release it once later on, but
My thoughts
it's
on it is it's playing it back, and to me, like the closer to the actual event that caused it, the the better the visual's going to be. To me, it's like as it plays out over time, it's kind of releasing energy, so it's losing energy, and
hmm
eventually it's just going to fade away and not be
hmm
there anymore. But I think
which
that's why, like, if you, I think I did a story on this on TikTok one time, but if you look at some of the older reports in like England and stuff,
hmm
and then you look at the newer reports of the same thing, it seems like it's fading. They don't describe it in the same way as the earlier reports. So that's kind of how I developed that theory is eventually it'll just stop playing. It won't have the energy left to reproduce it.
hmm. Which would explain why we don't have residual energy of dinosaurs walking in our backyard.
Right? Or as my theory goes, animals don't turn into ghosts, but that's for another day.
That's a whole nother topic.
That is a whole nother topic.
Um, that leads me to another conversation I actually had. I think I was talking to Feathers when I had this conversation. It was about why we don't. She asked me what my theory was on why we don't have ghosts interacting with us from 400 years ago, 600,000 years ago. Why we don't talk to cavemen or dinosaurs.
Yeah, what'd you figure out of that?
Well, we have a lifespan, right? Our lifespan is what, 75 to 80 years, something like that.
Yeah, roughly.
Okay. Well, I'm I'm in the belief that we also have an afterlife span. In other words, you get say 150 years to finish up what you need to do, and then you need to make a decision either now or up to the end of your afterlife span to either move on or to being reincarnated or whatever the choice you decide to make is going to be. So I think that so if we want to hear a ghost, we can only speak to them within the last 150 years. I mean, that's just a theory, but to me it makes sense.
It's an interesting theory. I don't think I've ever heard that before.
Well, that's because I don't want to say I made it up, but it's just what occurred to me in my brain. I didn't hear it anywhere. That's just
I
where
mean,
I picked it up.
making things up is okay. That's how we come up with hypothesis.
That's my theory as to why. You know what I mean?
I'd have to say, like, of all my investigations, like I can't think of anything that stands out as what I would call actually intelligent. I've definitely had some weird stuff, but it's hard for me just to like the
You've
est
never
is
you
closest
feel like
thing.
you've never gotten an intelligent answer?
I've gotten a few intelligent answers, but to me, if it's intelligent, it could keep a conversation with me for a while. But if it
Hmm.
gets one answer, if I ask 10 questions and it only gives me something that I would consider intelligent once or twice, it's hard for me to say that that's an intelligent thing I'm interacting with and not just mere coincidence.
That makes a lot of sense. But let me ask you this, and don't be afraid because I don't care what the answer is. I don't want you to give me an answer because you think it's what I want to hear. Okay.
I don't ever do that shit.
But the last uh portal box session I did, and I posted a video a couple days after of when I asked the box, mom, if that's or I asked about my mom and I said, "Are you here right now?" And then the box came through very clearly and said, "I'm always here."
Yeah, I think I remember that one.
Now, do you think that was a random thing? Or do you think it was my mom saying that? Or do you think it was a spirit, possibly a other spirit pretending to be her saying, "I'm always here"?
It's tough to say on that. Like I said, when I was saying it a bit ago, like the
Just
Estes
be
method
honest.
is hard to explain because when you're skipping through the radio that fast, you shouldn't get complete sentences, you know,
Right.
and you do
Right.
sometimes, and that to me is unexplainable. So that's harder for me. Um, but like let's say it was your mom. Did you ask more questions to try to get a confirmation, or was it just a one-off thing?
Um, to be honest, I believe there was more to it, but that's the one that sticks out in my brain. And that's the one I remember because everybody was in awe when we heard it.
Right.
Uh, but to be honest, I don't remember it's been a little while since I did that.
It's hard for
But
me to say on that one, because my beliefs definitely hold that dead people aren't ghosts. So it's hard for
well,
me to
right.
say. But, you know,
So if you think it was if you think it was a demon saying that, I mean, I'm pretty strong-willed. I can take it. You know what I mean? You don't have to beat around the bush with me
oh, I
if
know
you think,
that.
you know.
I just don't
Uh,
know if I would just say a demon's doing it.
right.
Because it could have been, I don't want to say angelic, but
Oh.
a nicer type spirit that's just trying to comfort you a little bit. You know what I mean?
Oh, sure, that could be. And speaking of, I gotta look something up. Do you know who Aleister Crowley is?
Yeah, I know Aleister Crowley.
Okay. Well, he was asked about aliens, right?
Yep.
And he, along with you, think that aliens are demons.
Yeah, I think it's true.
Well, here's something interesting that I found out just today
Oh,
that Aleister Crowley actually drew a picture of the demon that came to visit him.
yeah, it's in that house of his, isn't it?
This
In
is the
Italy, wherever
demon.
that is.
And this is the demon that he says came and visited him. You tell me what you think it looks like.
That looks like a gray alien.
doesn't it? It looks like an alien.
It does.
So he seems to think that, demons disguise themselves as aliens.
Yeah, that guy was on a whole different level of out there. You should read his books sometime.
Yeah.
I don't know if it enlightened you or not, but you should definitely read the writings of a madman.
And since we're on it, let me, you know about the Apple logo?
Yeah,
You know of the Apple logo. Well, somebody who was into aliens, okay, they turned the Apple logo on, they tilted it and like flipped it over. They used two Apple logos, except they say they just used two Apple logos to create this, but to me it looks like it's like the reverse issue. But look in the middle. Do you see the alien
yeah,
between the Apple logos?
yeah. That's pretty cool. Like that's just coincidence. So
Yeah, of course. But I just thought
that's
it was
pretty cool.
interesting.
I don't think I've seen
Yeah,
that one before.
yeah. So those are a couple of the cool things that I ran across. Again, like I said, it's a random. You don't know what the hell we're going to talk about, guys. We're just.
I have no
I,
idea what you're talking about.
I was so inspired by the whole thing this morning, and it was random and it was fun. So,
There's a lot of randomness going on this morning. I'm not sure what
hmm
was happening.
and my phone keeps falling down on me. I'm gonna have to I need a new ring light. This is crazy. So Mel's hole.
Mel's
Oh,
Hole.
all right. Or did you want to continue on with something about that?
No, I want to hear about Mel's Hole.
Mel's hole. All right. If you guys don't know, I actually got some information, told you about it a little bit. But then I did my own research and found out even more about it. So Mel's hole, if you guys don't know, is a hole. Uh, Let me start over. Mel is a guy. I later found out that his name is Mel Waters.
It's
Mel
fitting.
buys land. Yeah. Mel buys land in central Washington in the 90s. He just buys a bunch of land. Well, he bought the land while he was exploring all his acreage. I want to say it was around 100 acres or something like that. Um, he finds this hole, and it's a great big hole that is apparently really deep. He's looking down it, can't see the bottom. Um,
Terrifying. That's a nightmare for me.
yeah. Apparently he talks to the neighbors, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we throw everything down that hole. It just disappears. So we throw uh uh dead cows down there, all sorts of stuff." I later did after more research, found out that they threw like appliances and old TVs and everything they didn't want, old tires,
I
stuff
can
like
see
that.
that, but why are they throwing dead cows down it?
I don't know. I guess there's cattle ranchers and around there somewhere or something. I don't know.
It's horrible.
So what this guy does, Mel, he goes and he buys a rig setup for shark fishing, and he buys a roll of fishing line that's 1,500 yards, right? And he puts a weight on the end as he drops it down the hole. Does not touch the bottom. 1,500 yards, doesn't touch the bottom.
Isn't 1,700 yards like a mile?
I'm not sure. Um, so he goes to the store, he buys a bunch more rolls. He goes back a few times. He ends up buying, let me see what it says here. He ends up buying spools of fishing line, each at 5,000 yards. I don't know where you get 5,000 yard fishing line, but he bought them. 5,000 yards of crack to a total, now get this, a total of 80,000 yards. So, I'm sorry, 80,000 feet. 80,000 feet. So
That
80,000
makes more
feet,
sense.
80,000 feet, he dropped it down and still didn't hit the bottom.
But I mean,
And
that's
that's just,
still, is there 5,000 some odd feet in a mile? So you're
I don't know.
talking like
It's
13 freaking miles down.
They mentioned that it's longer. It's longer than what a certain trench in the ocean is.
Mariana.
Yes, they're saying it's deeper than that
Now,
by a lot.
do we have any other evidence other than Homer with his fishing spools? Like, has scientists
Homer,
tried whatever his name is? Is it like scientists come and
hey,
tested how deep this
let me
shit
get let
is?
me let me give you what I got.
Okay, all right. Sorry, I didn't mean to
Apparently,
call BS so early.
right. Apparently, dogs are afraid of this hole. Uh, all the animals around don't go anywhere near it. He says a neighbor told him his dog died, and he threw his dog down the hole after the dog was dead. Obviously, the next day, the dog was on his porch alive,
Pet
and
cemetery.
Mel is even. That's the first thing I thought of too. And Mel says that it was an ongoing joke that he would tell everybody, when I die, throw me down the hole.
Jesus.
So, uh, let's see. Um, there used to be the neighbors told him there used to be like a Stonehenge type of rocks on top of it, of the hole.
Well, that's interesting.
And they don't know exactly what happened to the stones, but they had similar to Stonehenge around this hole.
You know they were
Um,
sacrificing somebody to that hole.
anyways, let me finish the story. So the neighbors, after they told them about these stone pillars, uh, they also reported they actually saw a giant black beam shoot out, like a black beam of light. I'm assuming. I don't know how it could be a black beam of light, but a black beam shoot out of this hole, and they don't know what to make of it. They've had tons of weird, unexplained stuff happening around here. And then after further research that I've done, that's when I found out his last name was Waters. Let me actually, if you're curious, I can tell you um, where it is actually located. Yes, that's what I found after. Okay, it's here in my further research notes. It is in the Manistash Ridge, west of Ellensburg, Washington. So I believe that to be somewhere in the center of the state.
It's just a hole in the ground.
Mm-hmm. Um, yeah, they would dump broken appliances, washers and dryers, old tires, and they noticed that it just never filled up. Now, another thing that Mel reports is that he used to pick up strange signals on his radio whenever he was near the hole.
Oh, really?
He doesn't go on to explain it. He just says strange signals.
He says that and then goes on.
Yeah. And in 2009, there was a movie made called The Hole, where it was based on this, on Mel's Hole. Apparently, two brothers buy a house and they find this hole in the basement that has no bottom. And it's, it, it apparently has supernatural forces to it, but it was based off of Mel's Hole in Washington. There's also a TV show that was modeled off of Mel's Hole, and it's called Hole to Another Dimension. And it's actually hosted by a guy named Andrew Gentile.
Now,
And get the co-star's name. You're gonna think I'm full of shit. That's why I sent you the picture. The co-star's name is Hecklefish Moriarty.
that's weird.
And that's why I sent you that picture, so maybe you can put it up, but just proof that I didn't make that name up.
What caught me was the name of the show, The Hole to Another Dimension, Mel's Hole.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we need to talk to the marketing department and let them know that, like, to me, that sounds like a bad porn movie more than
It
something
does.
serious.
And it's hard to not think that as
Right.
you're going
And
through it.
maybe they did it on
You
purpose to
know,
try to
I
grab some
mean,
attention.
it's a bottomless hole that you can throw anything into. Yeah, I get it. I get it.
Old
I
Mel
get
in
it.
his hole.
So that's Mel's hole.
Mel's Hole. That's in
Yeah,
Washington. Now, did you get
in
any
Washington.
scientific evidence of any of this?
Well, no, I didn't. There's no science involved in the stories that I've read. So it's
Because if you
mainly,
went 80,000 feet, I mean, that's further than freaking airplanes fly up in the air.
yeah, you're kind of taking all the fun out of it for me, you know.
Man, this is how my brain works.
Don't, dude,
I'm no fun.
I didn't go to any, look up any university for scientific stuff for it. I give you what I got. I give you what was given to me,
Like, if like
you know.
the local college would have come out with some kind of measurements other than just hearing the guy that owns it and he probably charges you to go out to see it. You know what I
Uh-huh.
mean? Like, I just need some proof that this thing is over 10 miles deep.
Or
Just a
you
little
could
proof.
just sit back and enjoy the story.
I did. I enjoyed the story, but then the logical side takes over, and that's just my curse.
Ah, ah.
Nothing I can do about it, man.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, and I can tell you, I got a question for you.
You have a question for me?
Yeah.
What's up?
What do you what do you think is the fastest, and stop me if you know the answer. What do you think is the fastest man-made object in the world?
The
Take a
fastest
guess.
man-made object?
Yeah.
Hmm.
You don't have to be right on the first one. Just shoot something out.
Maybe a plasma jet engine.
Plasma jet engine. Well, the fastest jet made by uh, human hands apparently has hit 4,000 miles per hour,
Ooh,
according to
damn.
my research.
Is it a plasma
And
jet?
it is by far not the fastest man-made item on
What is the
Earth.
fastest man-made item on Earth?
You're never
Don't
gonna
tell
guess
me
it.
your mom or something. I'd be pissed.
No,
All right.
I'm not gonna rickroll you on this one. There's
All right.
actually
Just
something.
making sure. All right. Tell me.
The fastest man-made item on Earth is a manhole cover. Do you know about this?
Like when they explode or something?
No. Okay, so you don't
I
know
have
about it.
no
All
idea
right.
what you're talking about.
All right. There's a manhole cover that was shot into space at 150,000 miles per hour.
Good Lord.
And apparently it is still in space traveling at 150,000 miles per hour.
How have I
Uh,
never heard of this?
Back in 1957 in Nevada, they were doing a lot of nuclear testing. So what they did is they dug this hole in the ground. Speaking of holes, since from the last story, they dug this hole in the ground that is apparently only just shy of 3 feet wide and 400 feet deep. And they were testing a nuclear weapon.
All right.
And all they had on top was a manhole cover. And when they ignited it, it shot up, and they filmed it at 1,000 frames a second. And that's how they know how fast it shot out. At 150,000 miles per hour, they ignited it and shot it into space.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
ever heard of that story.
Um, and it's still to this day going 150,000 miles per hour. I'm just
Where'd you
like,
even hear about this
that
at?
is just blowing
Like,
my
where
mind.
did this come from?
Hey, I'm not going to reveal all my sources, but it even they were pretty convinced, and it was a shock and awe type of thing. Uh, but it's just amazing that, I mean, that it makes sense. A nuclear explosion is going to shoot a manhole pretty goddamn fast. You know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I've never heard that.
All right, we can switch things up since it's random, right? We're doing random stuff.
Random stuff. Mine's not so random though.
No, well, I can keep going. I got a bunch. We can
All
talk
right.
about heaven if you want. You want to talk about heaven?
What you know about heaven?
Well, I don't know. I just have questions, you know? Like, do we have houses in heaven?
Allegedly,
Yeah, apparently, I don't know. I heard somewhere
mansions.
that we're supposed to have mansions. Yeah, mansions.
Yeah,
Uh,
mine's gonna
you
be
know,
green.
I've been a green mansion.
Green mansion. Shit
Uh,
glowing like neon.
are you gonna have a green lantern?
Ooh, I might.
Like, do you have jobs? Another question. Like, do we have
Mm,
jobs in heaven? Do you have to work?
I
Like,
would
that wouldn't
doubt
be
it.
heaven. That wouldn't be heaven if you have to
That wouldn't
work.
be heaven at all.
But then if you don't have nobody works, what the hell do you do all day? You know?
I'm gonna be out in the universe checking out like black holes and nebulas, and I'm gonna be busy.
So then you're not going to be in heaven. You're going to stay back and explore, right?
No, I'm just gonna go explore from heaven.
Oh. So you think heaven is in the galaxies?
Well, I'm sure it's somewhere up in that area. I don't know where. I'm guessing a different dimension.
You
I'll
don't
just
think it's a
zap my ass back into this dimension for a minute.
you don't think it's like above all the galaxies and all space and time?
I don't know if I'd say like above. I'd say outside, outside of the bubble of space time.
I forget which Men in Black movie it was, but remember when they uh I can't remember the character. When Kay says to Jay, he says, "You humans are always worried about size and this and that." And then he opens the this giant door, and you see these huge giant humans, and Kay and Jay both look like little dolls
I
in a
haven't seen that.
locker. They look like they're tiny in a locker.
That's funny.
And then they zoom out, and our whole universe is in a marble, and then there's these aliens that are playing marbles with different galaxies in the marbles.
That's funny.
And I'm just like, wow. Like, I mean, how do we know that that's not the case? You know, how do we know we don't have, we're just, we're just parasites living on a piece of floating space dust.
I look at it like we're like The Sims.
The Sims?
Yep, we're just a
Hmm.
computer game.
What do you do when you get bored in heaven? What do they do? Like,
I
do they
don't
get
know.
bored? Do you think there is such a thing as getting bored?
I wouldn't think so. Go ride a horse or something. I don't fucking know. God, I have no idea what heaven's like.
What about friends? Are your friends in heaven, or
I
is it
hope
just,
so.
your like
Like, I
imaginary
doubt you'd
heaven?
have enemies in heaven.
Well,
That seems to be counterproductive.
it's true, true. But they say without negativity, there can be no positivity, right? Without bad experiences, there can be no good experiences.
Well, you better experience all you can while you're on this earth.
So, how can there be good experiences if there's no bad experiences? I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud, you know?
Yeah,
How about
definitely.
pets? Do you think do you think there's pets in heaven?
I do not. I
You
think
don't.
there's animals in heaven, but I don't think they're your pets. Maybe if you, like, if we're allowed to manifest stuff, then maybe you could manifest your long lost puppy or whatever. But I don't
So
think
you
it's
think it's
actually the pet you had here.
hmm. What about the theory? Now this is my theory. I call it the theory, even though it's all mine.
The
What
theory.
if what if what if love creates the soul for a pet? If the pet has been loved, then they like get a soul. I hear crickets.
As you should with that kind of question. What if
What
what if
if?
it's just that they're a memory and your memories can be projected in heaven?
I don't know.
So you're
I don't.
saying the little poor cat that nobody loved got left out by the railroad tracks? It didn't get a soul because nobody loved it.
Well, maybe it was loved by its mama kitten, and that was enough. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just filling up the gaps, man. Like somebody's got to say something.
Filling up Mel's hole is what you're doing.
You leave Mel's hole out of this.
Hey, you brought it into the whole conversation.
So I got more randomness. Let's. How about aliens? How about
Oh
aliens?
God, what about aliens?
Do you think do you think aliens bitch about the same things that we bitch about? Like do they complain that their flying saucer is like a piece of shit and they need to get a new one, you know?
Like,
Do
damn,
they
I can't believe I got the 21 model year.
right?
Sucks.
Like oh fuck, I gotta get a new one. This one's a piece of shit. Like goddamn, I can't even go invisible anymore with this damn thing, or
Wow.
whatever.
I've never thought about that, but I'm assuming if there were aliens, they would probably gripe about the same stuff we do. I don't
Do
see
they?
why not.
Do you think the alien couples bitch about space money or
Some, whatever
whatever they
they
use for
use,
currency?
yep, I'm
Oh,
sure that happens.
it's
That's universal.
gotta be. Do you think that aliens complain about their kids' bullshit as well? Like, you
Have you
know,
seen Resident Alien?
oh yeah, I've seen Resident Alien. Yeah, that's but I mean, if we're trying to judge fact from TV show,
I
sure,
mean, aliens are
you
just
know.
as real as TV shows, so
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
here we go.
Do you think aliens ever spank their kids?
I mean, you never see an alien child acting up in the supermarket, so
This is true. This is true. All right, I got one more question for you that has been kind of irking in the back of my mind for quite some time, but I've never vocalized it
how long?
until right now.
How long has this
Uh,
been irking in the back of your mind?
oh, I'd say about at least 30 years.
30 years?
Yeah. Yeah, I've never spoken about it out loud, but it's always been like, why? Why?
You'll hear it first here on the Paranormal Watchtower.
Yeah, yep. All right. What is the number one symbol of Christianity? What would
Probably
you
the
say?
cross.
The crucifix with Jesus on it would be the
Right.
number one, right?
That's what I would
Okay.
guess.
All right. And now my question is why? He's supposed to be all loving, all knowing, giver of love and light and all things good. But yet his number one image is him nailed to a cross. It seems kind of morbid to me.
That makes sense.
Like why don't all our churches like why don't all our churches have like him like walking on water or holding a bucket of fish? Why
I
does he
mean,
have to be tortured on wooden cross? Like why is that? I
have
mean,
you
I
ever looked at the
understand
stained glass?
the stained glass.
Yeah, usually the stained glass has Bible stories on it, like him walking on the
Oh,
water and that kind of stuff.
but I mean, I get it. He did this as a symbol to pay for our sins. I understand the story. Okay, I'm Christian. I'm not dumb. But my point is, why use that image as their go-to? As our go-to as people outside Christianity looking in are thinking, they got to be thinking, why do they use that as a symbol? It seems so dark. You know,
I
I
mean,
don't know.
even they know what it is, so I don't
This
know.
is true.
I don't wear a cross or anything like that, so I don't know.
Yeah, just I don't know. It's just something that stuck out in my mind. Something that
Humans need symbols, I guess. I really don't know.
just makes me wonder. Makes me wonder. So,
Yeah, I don't think Christ himself said you should wear this cross necklace in remembrance of me. I'm pretty sure that's not in the Bible.
I feel like I feel triggered. I feel like I'm targeted on that one
What?
because I have like 10 cross
I was
necklaces.
targeting everybody that does that. So
I have like 10 of them.
don't feel like it was a personal attack. It was
Oh,
like a shotgun shot. It was spread out to as many people
oh.
as I could get.
You only hurt one of my two feelings, so we're good. We're good.
That's good. Let's work on the other one then here in a bit.
Yeah, give it your best shot. Oh, all right. It's your turn now. I got all I got left after that is if we decide we want to play Who Said It. I got a few of those, but that's pretty much all I got prepared for. Otherwise, we can talk about other randomness that you come up with.
You're doing a pretty good job. We've almost hit the hour mark already.
Well,
All right, you ready for mine?
I am ready. Well, maybe I'm ready. I don't know. We'll find out.
Now, this is a request from a viewer, a follower, a fan.
Hmm.
Her name is Fuki. And
No, that's not her name.
her name is Courtney Fuki or Fufu.
I
But
thought it was.
she don't like it when I say that name. She's gonna make me edit that out.
Well, too late now. She can't edit what I say because I said so.
Anyway, so she said suggested we should check out Lake Lanier
Sorry,
in
Fuki.
Georgia.
Sorry, Fufu.
She sent this little thing saying, "Hi, my name is Courtney. I am the biggest fan of the Paranormal WatchTower podcast." And I'm reading this now, okay? I would really be blessed if you would discuss the haunted Lake Lanier. I saw it on a TV show the other day. It wasn't as good as the Paranormal WatchTower podcast, but it was still entertaining. And it would just mean so much to me if you guys would touch on the Lanier Lake hauntings. So I decided yes. That was a sweet letter. Thank you, Courtney.
I mean, if you're gonna ask, that's how you do it.
That's how you do it.
You tread lightly and you butter us up. That's the best way to do it.
So I appreciate that. I'll hang that letter on my wall.
There you go. There you go.
All right. So check this out. Lake Lanier is a massive man-made lake in Georgia, one of the largest man-made lakes in the United States. And it also has the distinction of being one of the deadliest lakes in the United States. Over 500 people have lost their lives in the lake, and 200 just from 1994 to 2020.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's a lot.
Right. And
why how is this lake not filled in?
Oh, that's not even the tip of it, man. They get like 10 million visitors a year. So you're kind of like, I can kind of understand the high number. But shortly away from it is another big lake that gets the same amount of visitors each year, and they have a third less deaths. Now, the park ranger guy is kind of sensitive about this whole subject. His favorite thing to say is, not a single person died had a life jacket on. It's like, yeah, I'll grant you that, but still 2/3 more than a lake that's close to you that gets the same amount of visitors. So now not only is people dying in this lake by drowning, there is also reports of people swimming and getting grabbed from underneath the water and yanked down.
Wait, so Jason Voorhees?
I mean, let me tell you the history of this place first, and then you can decide if it's Jason Voorhees or something else, right? So what they did was they dammed up the Chattahoochee River to give a big body of water to give water to Atlanta, because Atlanta was growing. This is the 1800s. Like Atlanta went from 14,000 citizens to 200,000 citizens in like a couple years.
So was this way down yonder in the Chattahoochee?
Way down yonder. Now,
sorry. Go ahead.
Now this has a history, like a pretty traumatic history on the land there. The Trail of Tears goes through this area. There's it was in the fork of two rivers, so the Native Americans buried a lot of people there.
Okay.
Um, and there's actually a few towns underneath this lake, and they didn't demolish the towns; they just filled up the lake with the towns there.
Wait.
They
What do you mean they have towns in the river,
in the lake,
in the lake?
under the lake.
How do they have towns under the lake?
They dammed the river and let it flood into the farmlands around it, and there was a couple towns in the way. So the
Oh,
government bought all the land and evacuated the people and then flooded
okay.
it, but didn't demolish the buildings. They said any marked graves they did move, but if there was unmarked graves, Native American graves,
Oh,
they're
okay.
underwater
All
now.
right. Yeah. All right. So, nightmare fuel. All right.
Oh, it's not done yet.
Keep going.
There's this town called Oscarville that's underneath the lake. And why it's kind of famous is because of some racial stuff that happened in 1912. There was about 10% population was African American, and they seemed to be living, pretty decently with each other, the whites and the African Americans back then,
Okay.
until this young white lady ended up being raped and pretty much murdered in the woods, and she never regained consciousness. There was no witnesses. And a popular thing apparently down in Georgia at the time was to go investigate black neighborhoods for the perpetrator, as they say. So they ended up just snatching a kid. And like a couple of thousand people showed up at the courthouse to lynch the poor kid. And they actually somehow vacated him out the back of the courthouse.
Okay.
Well, then they go and arrest the dude's like sister and sister's husband and a friend. Like four people end up getting arrested. They end up lynching a few of them. I didn't read what happened to the other two. One was acquitted, and so then the white people of the town actually drove the black people of town out. Like didn't give them a choice. And there's reports they made them swim across the Chattahoochee. They kind of cornered them, wouldn't let them use a bridge, and they forced them
Oh,
across the Chattahoochee River, where a number of people died.
didn't didn't make it. Yeah.
Right. And so fast forward to the 1950s, and this town ends up being covered up by this lake now. So, I mean, the whole place has just got a pretty nasty vibe, in my opinion, when you consider the Trail of Tears is covered now by the lake.
Hmm.
You got that town where crazy tragedy happened. Like, I'm just speechless about. I watched a documentary on the town, and I'm just speechless what happened there. There's actually a couple other towns that are underneath it. One of the haunting reports is that you can hear the bell of one of the churches that's under the water dinging.
Is do you think it's just because it's s- supernatural or paranormal that it's ringing, or is something ringing the bell underwater and they're hearing it?
I have no idea. Like
Hmm.
I've never heard of this place before. Started researching on it. I'd kind of like to go down and check it out. I'm probably not going to swim in it. I don't want something grabbing me and pulling me down.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's not Crystal Lake, so
It kind of seems like it. Now let me tell
yeah.
you, of the over 500 people that have died there, 27 of the bodies have not been recovered. So add that to the stuff happening in this water. And then you got the famous stories. You got the tragic story of Susie Roberts, who drowned in 1958, and they call her the Lady of the Lake. And apparently, she appears near the bridge where her life met a watery end. And this has been reported by many witnesses that see her. She's either combing her long hair or she's just kind of hanging out there by this bridge. Um,
Another woman bridge story. Let me
and
guess. Was she wearing a white dress?
yes, well, let me see. No, it doesn't say. I'm sorry, it doesn't say. But the story of Delia, I hope I say that right, Delia May Parker.
Okay.
Delia May and Parker Young. Delia May Parker Young. That's her whole name, apparently. Damn.
Wow.
But these are two women in the 50s that they'd gone out hanging out at a nightclub for a while that night, and they left to go back home, and they just disappeared. And thumbs up in myself again. And fast forward a little bit, and they found a body of a lady in a blue dress by this bridge on the lake, and they kind of thought it was this Dela Mae Parker lady because she was reported in a blue dress when she went missing.
Okay. Makes sense.
So a lot of people have reported seeing a woman in a blue dress along this bridge, just walking back and forth along this bridge. You know, that classic story. But it gets more interesting. You fast forward to 2011, and right next to the bridge, they had a drought, and they ended up seeing a car pull the car up, and it was her friend. And it was her friend was the only one still in the car. So they had to go back and assume that the lady found closer to the time of the wreck was this Delia Mae Parker
Hmm.
on this bridge that she'd been walking back and forth on. Apparently, they hit the side rail and went over into the water, and nobody apparently noticed the wreckage on the bridge.
And this is one of their famous stories, huh?
Yep.
Hmm.
And then you got the Indian burial grounds. This is kind of a scary story. It's called the White Raft Apparition. Two fishermen in the 2000s encountered a chilling sight when a man in a hooded white raft looked at them, jumped in the water, and started swimming aggressively to them, and then just vanished. Now tell me that wouldn't scare the shit out of you.
Yeah. So you said it was a man in a hooded in a hooded raft.
Yeah,
Are
I'm
you
not
saying
quite sure what
he
that means.
they probably meant that he was hooded, I'm guessing. 'Cause I've never seen
That
a
would be
hooded
my
raft.
guess. Yeah, I don't know what a hooded raft is, but we don't have lakes in Nebraska, so who knows?
You don't have any lakes in Nebraska?
Oh, we do. Just nothing around here.
Oh.
So I would
Seems like
kind
a
of like
pretty
to go
creepy
down and
place to
investigate.
visit.
Yeah,
You said they get how many people a year?
10 million.
10. That seems like a lot. 10
And not
million to a
That's a
place.
lot of people.
And
It's a
where is this
huge lake.
place?
Just outside of of Atlanta, about half hour
Okay, half hour outside of Atlanta, and they get 10 million people visiting there a year.
a year.
That seems like a phenomenal number.
I mean, I don't know how big Georgia is, but apparently it's a destination spot. Some of the pictures, and I've thrown them up as we're going through this. Like it looks like a billion boats on this lake.
Because there's only I'm trying to think now how many people, what's the population of the United States? I think it's only like 32 million or something like that, ain't it? I don't know.
No, it's like I want to say 350 million,
250 million. Okay, so
350 to 500, I would guess.
I don't even know. Well, we could find out.
It's a tourist destination, is what it is.
What?
It's a tourist destination. Like it's
Well,
kind of
either way,
just us
it's a
poor
big
folk
number.
don't know about it. Yeah, and it's not just drownings. Like there's mysterious boats that just catch on fire and shit for no reason. There's a lot of boating accidents. So from 1994 to 2018, there were 33 boating accidents, 145 drownings, and 57 boat-related deaths. The
Well,
period from 2015 to 2018 alone accounted for 43 deaths and 128 boating accidents.
that doesn't surprise me. I've seen all the YouTube videos of people backing their boats, just getting them in the water. People are idiots.
And I wish I could find the time on it. I don't see it anymore, but there was actual 7 people that died in it one night. There was 2 families, I believe, or a man, a woman, their kid, 3 of their 4 kids, and 2 neighbor kids. ended up wrecking on that bridge, went into the water, killed all 7 of them. That was the
Jesus.
deadliest night at the lake. Usher's stepson actually died in the lake there.
Well, we're both pretty far from Georgia, so I don't think we have any worries about stumbling on to that lake.
I want
You
to go
know,
check it out. I want to say I might have a friend that lives on that lake. I know he lives north of Atlanta, about half hour on a lake. So I wonder if that's it.
it
I'm
might
gonna have to
be.
call him because he goes fishing out there all the time. I'm gonna have to call him and see if that's it.
I was gonna say well, I've been pretty close to there because I go to the Atlanta airport every time I try to fly somewhere because you always got to go to Atlanta or
Like all they
Chicago,
need is sharks to set that place off for real.
right? Right?
I don't know if I'll swim in there or take a boat, but I'll go look at it.
You throw Loch Ness Monster into it, and you got the whole package right there. That seems like a pretty hot spot of paranormal activity.
It seems like it. Now there's a lot of the locals that are just like it. There's a dive team that was on this video I was watching, and they're like, we're out here at night and we've never ever seen any of this stuff. But at the same
Really?
time, they had a lady on that said she was swimming and something grabbed her by the ankle and yanked her down, and she's never been back to the lake since. Yeah, I mean,
So did you ever? So did any scientists ever been there, or
and the scientists say not haunted. So I come ready with facts.
the science
Bring
say
those
not
questions.
haunted?
Not haunted.
Not haunted.
I don't know. Like
Either.
to me, just the tragedies that have happened there, I'm sure it's a pretty bad feeling there.
Well, yeah. This even if it's even the juju alone, you know,
Right. I mean,
of that place.
it's just a sad history. You don't hear about a lot of that stuff here where you're at in the United States, but
Mm-hmm.
that's just crazy.
Wow. Well, so that was a good request, I would say. There
Yes.
was a lot of info there.
Yes. And the
A
note
lot of
she
info.
sent was excellent. I might throw a picture of it up on the podcast. You don't know.
Pause for picture.
All right.
Maybe it's there, maybe it's not. Who
We're
knows?
over our hour. You got anything else you want to do?
Well, yeah, I got I put together 5 who you said it quotes if
All
you
right.
want to do those quick.
Let's do it.
All right. Those of you who don't know, the game we've been playing the last few weeks, I came up with who said it, and your choices are Zach Bagans, Kanye West, or Donald Trump.
And I'm not
And
good at this game.
Ray sucks at this game, but I kind of made them a little easier this time. They're
All right.
a little easier for you. Okay. But not
I'm
all.
ready.
All right, let's start off with number 1. Zach, Kanye, or Donald Trump. Ready? All right. My whole life has been heat. I like heat in a certain way. Zach, Kanye, or Donald Trump.
All right. Say it again.
My whole life has been heat. I like heat in a certain way.
I'm going to go with Kanye.
Donald Trump.
God, that's my other. I didn't figure it was Zach. That didn't sound like Zach at all.
No, it didn't. Okay. All right. Now this one actually made me think. All right. This is a great quote, actually.
Oh,
Would you believe in what you believe in if you were the only one who believed it? I'll repeat that. Would you believe in what you believe in if you were the only one who believed it? It's a quote. Who said it?
I'm going to go with Kanye again.
Pause for a second and let people make a guess.
Let us know in the chat what you think.
All right, time's up. Ding.
Yes.
You got it. Kanye West.
Yeah, that sounds
you
like
believe in-
somebody that's not very smart trying to be very smart.
Would you believe in what you believe in if you were the only one who believed it?
Fuck yes, you
That's
still would.
you should still. You should.
Yeah,
But
that makes no
then
sense.
But I could see where that would come from, where it would make you think you were crazy if you were the only one who thought it. Like if I was the only one on the earth who believed in ghosts, I would think, am I just nuts? You know what I mean?
I can see that, but still.
Anyways, moving on. Number 3. There's only 5. So I don't always say things the proper way, but my intentions are always pure.
Oh my
Zach
God.
Bagans, Kanye West, Donald Trump. I'll
Mm,
repeat it. I'll repeat it. I don't always say things the proper way, but my intentions are always pure.
wow. That could be all three of them.
Yes, it could. Yep. Well, I don't. I could talk about, just give quotes that talk about ghosts and paranormal stuff,
I
but
mean,
they'd
that
all,
would be easier.
yeah,
You said these were easy?
well, okay,
Lies.
I guess I lied a little bit.
Lies. All right.
Well, they're fun for me. I don't always say things the proper way, but my intentions are always pure. Who said it?
I'm gonna go Trump.
Kanye West.
Oh my goodness. I never would
Hey,
have guessed Kanye.
you know what? You got one of them, right?
One out of what? Four? Three?
Yeah, 1 out of 4. 1 out of 4.
One out
Oh
of
no, 1 out
four.
of 3. 1 out of
Oh,
3 you
got
got.
one more. I can redeem
No, you got
myself.
two more. Number 4 is coming up.
Oh, okay. So one out
All
of
right,
three.
now this one's good. This is funny. All right, you ready?
Hit me.
Get in bed with me, man. We can feel the vibrations together.
Zach Baggins.
Yep, that's our
Yeah.
guy Zach. Yep, that's Zach Bagans for sure. Get in bed with me, man. We can feel the vibrations together.
I got no other words for that one. I'm just gonna we'll just let that one hang out there for a while.
Yeah, we'll just let that marinate. And then, all right, I got one more. I will pick appropriate lighting to help. What does that say?
I can't read your writing.
I know I can't either. Uh oh, okay. I will I will pick appropriate lighting to help create the atmosphere for me. I use a lot of blues and purples.
God.
And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking it could be Zach, but it could also be Kanye West because he's a performer.
Yeah, and it could also be Trump because he says weird shit.
But he could be Trump because he says weird shit. So I'll read it again. I will pick appropriate lighting to help create the atmosphere for me. I use a lot of blues and purples. Who
I'm gonna
said
go
it?
Kanye on that one.
Zach Bagans. Well, you got 20%. You got 1 out of 5.
Blues and purples.
Yep.
What does that even mean?
It's
I don't
a
remember
quote,
ever
man.
seeing him in blues and purples.
It's just a quote.
I was
Well,
like,
that's
I could
gonna.
see Kanye at a concert with blue and purple or something.
Yeah. See, well, that's gonna conclude everything that I got for episode 14. Unless you
Is
got
it
something else you
episode
want to
14?
add. Is it episode 14 or is it 15?
I think it's 15, isn't it?
Well, you took.
Let me look here. Yeah, it's 14.
No, it's 14. Okay.
Wow, I was ahead of us.
Either
All
way,
right.
we're in the teens, so we made it. We made it. We're still going. Thanks to the few sponsors that we have, and thanks to all you guys for coming in every
Yeah.
week,
And don't
checking
forget, if
out.
you're watching this later, we do a live premiere every Wednesday night, 8 o'clock Central Time. Brandon and I are in the chat with everybody. So show up for that. That's always fun.
It is fun. And you can comment in real time, and we comment back to most of it. I comment more than Ray does, but we still do. We still do. So, all right, guys, thanks again for coming in. Unless Ray's got something else to say.
I
That's
mean,
it.
I don't think so. Just
We'll
be safe.
see you next Wednesday at 8 o'clock Central.
Don't swim in Lake Lanier.
Yeah, don't go anywhere near there.
Peace out.
Have a nice night, y'all. See ya.